Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Beyond Horizons. You might be asking yourself, what the hell is the space plane that I'm looking at? Well, as you're going to see, it's definitely one of my worst space planes. So I wanted to go and retrieve the astronauts on the moon who are doing their survey there. Yeah, you can already see it's not aerodynamically stable. The idea was that this SSTO would get up into orbit. The central node there would detach and head off to the moon independently, land and get the astronauts and come back, but instead what it did was flip through the atmosphere chaotically, and well, I did manage to get to orbit with it, surprisingly enough, but so the aerodynamic instability was not actually the fatal flaw of the mission, as you will soon see. But yeah, the astronauts on the moon are completely out of nitrogen, and we've been leaving them up there a little too long, considering that they haven't got any pressurization in their cabins, so I think it's time to bring them back home. There we are, as you can see, we actually did manage to get into orbit despite somersaulting through the upper atmosphere, and then it was time for me to undock the lander there and go to the moon, go get the astronauts, come back and redock with the space plane to fly back. After foolishly congratulating myself on miraculously getting to orbit, I realised that I had no fuel in the lander. Yeah, I forgot to disable crossfeed on the docking port, so I ended up draining all the fuel from the lander just, getting into orbit, and that meant we couldn't go to the moon, so we had to redock and head back immediately. Which I guess in hindsight was probably a good thing, because that's where all the fun happened. You see, the boys down in the engineering department actually constructed this thing on a dare, and thus didn't really do their due diligence when testing the craft in their simulations and making sure that it was actually, aerodynamically stable in the correct direction on descent, which this thing, as you might be able to see, is not. Since we have no control over this thing, there's nothing we can really do, so we might as well enjoy the view. Kind of interesting juxtaposition of having this thing hurtling uncontrollably through the atmosphere and having very soft, mellow piano as the backing track. Yeah, so I literally could not get control of this thing at all. It was aerodynamically stable, just in the wrong direction. I guess I just didn't check my center of mass and center of lift. So what I decided to start doing is twisting this thing. So I started holding the yaw down as much as I could, and I thought I could try and fly it like a sycamore seed. I thought if we can rotate this thing enough, it might act like a helicopter blade, and we might be able to generate some lift, which would slow our fall. I also deployed the drogue chutes there as well to aid in that endeavour. And surprisingly enough, it was actually sort of working. We were slowing down. If you look at the speed indicator there, you can see we're kind of going up and down in our speed, and I figured the flatter we were, like more horizontal we were, the slower we would end up falling. And a moment of truth, yes, it all worked. We survived. Unfortunately, we failed the mission, so I guess now it's time to do it properly. Since we blew the entire budget on Halbird for this mission, we had to cobble together a very cheap moon lander just to get the astronauts back. And time is of the essence, because the longer we leave them up there, the crazier and crazier they'll become. So, yeah, I thought we better prioritize getting them back quickly rather than spending a lot more time designing a fancy, reusable mission. So everything's just cheap and expendable. Even though the survey had to be cut short due to the lack of nitrogen reserves, they have actually completed their mission and have narrowed down the base location to a pretty nice flat area with some cool mountains in the distance. So we know where we're going to be building this base, so that'll be the next part of the project. We're going to send down an advanced engineering team and maybe even some heavy duty equipment so that they can clear the area and begin construction of a launch pad. But anyway, here we are landed on the moon, only 600 meters away from the Hypnos rover, so we just need a quick little jaunt over to get the astronauts back. I'm sure they're eager to get in a pressurized capsule so they can actually take their helmets off and scratch their noses. Well, actually, I'm pretty sure Kerbals don't have noses, but in any case, at least they can actually eat food. I don't really know how you would manage that if you can't take your helmet off. As well as being a survey for finding the launch pad, this has been a pretty good test of the Hypnos rover because, of course, this was originally designed to go to Eve, and, well, it's still going to go to Eve, but there's a couple of amendments we need to make. Obviously, main one being adding more nitrogen to the thing. I just get my tanks mixed up, I think. The Kerbalism mod is having a funny time because there's quite a few different mods that utilize it, and so I think sometimes when I put a tank with certain contents in it in a sub-assembly and then load it into another vessel, it just resets the tanks, and I never check it before I launch, so we're going to do that with Hypnos before it goes to Eve. We're also going to sort out its power situation, because it doesn't quite have enough to survive the lunar night, and that might be fine on Eve, but it's better safe than sorry, especially when the life support systems depend on it, so yeah, we'll update the power generation. But anyway, we've got over to the lander, so now it's time to get the astronauts out and get them back home. A pretty uneventful return from the moon, and I think that's just what the astronauts need after being, stuck in their spacesuits for the past month or so. I'm not really sure how long I left them up there since I got the warning that they'd run out of nitrogen and actually returning them, especially since the Albird failed to actually work at all. But yeah, here we are just coming down over the mountains, which is a bit of a precarious place to land, but luckily we didn't go careening down the mountainside and killing the astronauts just as they returned. And after watching a beautiful sunrise over the mountains, we can now start turning our attention to the future plans for the moon. Like I said, we're now going to send an advanced team of engineers to, well, lay down the groundwork for our future lunar base. But that'll all have to come in a future episode. For now, let's turn our attention to how we're actually going to keep funding the space program with all of these expensive plans. It's been quite a while since I've done any tourist contracts in the space program, and my funds are starting to dwindle, and they are very lucrative contracts, so I thought I'd pick up a couple more to take some tourists to Tavern 2. So, this is the Albatross, which has updated capacity for more tourists using the new Mark II spaceplane parts that I've just unlocked. Unfortunately, we have a bit of another theme of failed spaceplanes in this episode. It doesn't quite make it to orbit, and that's not actually due to a problem with the Delta V. It does have the Delta V on paper, just doesn't quite have the thrust in its air-breathing cycle to get it up to the sort of speeds it needs to get at. So I'm thinking just 2 more sets of those Whiplash engines should really sort this out. Because other than that, the spaceplane flies remarkably well. It has really good gliding capabilities when fully fueled and empty. And there's no weirdness with the landing gear like there was with the Verve. So I do think this thing should be able to land on a runway. Not that I was able to test it this time, though. Because, yeah, like I said, I wasn't able to get to orbit. And here we are on Reentry, just having a little glance inside the cockpit there. And I started getting some pretty concerning temperature gauges, and I was a bit worried that we might not make it through Reentry. But I thought it might be fun to channel my inner Scott Manley and head back to old me to see what I had to say about the situation then. Okay, we're getting a lot of heating on the back fins there. I'm a little bit worried about that, because if they explode, I don't really know how I'm going to land this thing. Oh, okay, yeah, this is not... There's a lot of temperature gauges here. I mean, Growell and Jesslyn look happy enough, but I'm a little bit worried for them. Don't worry, Growell and Jesslyn, you're gonna be fine. Just, focus on the pretty lights, I guess. Yikes, I hope, oh. I just noticed some oscillations there. Oh, dear. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No, we don't want to be losing control now. Oh my god, where's Fozy coming when you need her? She would be absolutely fine with all this. Okay, those temperature gauges are very close to maximum. I think it's just the RCS ports, though. They tend to be the first things that overheat, so as long as it's just those, we should be okay. I mean, the back tail fins cooled down enough now, so hopefully we're fine. I don't really know how much these air brakes are helping, but I'd like to think that they're doing their job. Okay, I was really trying to boost ourselves into the daytime side, so at least I could see a bit better where we're going to be landing, but never mind. We still have quite a bit of fuel in the air-breathing engines, so we can... We've got a bit of range to fly around and find a suitable landing spot. I would preferably like to land in the ocean. Eek! What else is overheating here? Oh, oh yeah, of course, the air brakes, because they're being exposed to a lot of high dynamic pressure. I think we're gonna be fine. Apart from the fact that this tailplane's now heating up again. Look, I think we're past the worst of it now. Like, we're down to 1600 meters a second, so that's... I think anything above, like, 1800 is like, worry about it territory. Anything under that, and we should be fine. Oh, I see a bit of sunlight on the horizon there. Look, that's a good omen, guys. That's a good omen. I think we're going to be fine here. Very much depends on whether we're aerodynamically stable after this. I think we look like we're fine. And we're kind of, you know, at the sort of speeds where if we had any aerodynamic problems, we would have noticed them by now. Oh, okay, we're getting a bit of weird oscillation again. I don't know why that is, you know. Because this thing is fairly stable. It might be the tailplane being up here. Ooh, okay. Okay, now we're nosing straight into the airstream, which is not ideal. We'd like to maintain a bit of an angle of attack so we can get a bit of lift. I would kind of like to land on the daytime side if possible, just so that we can see where we're coming down. But look, we're coming below 1,000 meters per second. Yeah, this is ideal now. I think we're fine. What a remarkable plane. Whoever designed this must be absolutely genius. Apart from the fact that it actually can't get into orbit that easily. Like I said, we actually do still have fuel, so we don't really necessarily have to land here, but I kind of do just want to bring it down now. I mean, where's the nearest runway? Yeah, there's no way we make it to the desert launch site. Like, no way. And I can't afford to unlock any of the other runways, so... Unless we just happen to stumble across one in the middle of the ocean, which I don't think we will. We're just going to have to put this down in the water. Okay. Oh, that's terrifying. Yeah, no, I don't like that. Yeah, we're gonna be fine. I mean, we do have a pretty steep descent rate, but I will flatten out once we're below the clouds. I think right now is I just can't see anything through the clouds, so I would like to get under the cloud layer, and then we can start assessing how to come down. I say how to come down. I've landed in the water many times. But once we flatten out, we'll lose a lot more speed. I don't want to lose too much speed too high up, because then we'll stall, and that's not good either. Alright, the water is coming at us pretty quick there. Okay. I think the center of mass is quite far forward. I could try pumping some of the fuel back, but I don't know how delicately balanced it is as of right now. It looks okay, actually. Like, we're not really pitching down that much, so like if I don't touch the controls, it's not like we're nosing down, so we do have a bit of a ability to glide. I wonder if we're losing too much speed here, because that is a bit of a concern. Maybe we just kind of stay around 15 degrees until 200 meters. I don't know how quickly I can pull out of this dive is the thing. If I do it too early... Oh, let's get these ready, actually. Okay, yep. Alright, yeah, we're fine. We're fine! Look at that. Oh, yeah, if we can hold it like this... Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. And brake. Oh, I bet that hurt. Ouch. Sorry, Jeslyn and Growell, you probably have whiplash from that, but hey, at least you're not dead. Nice, we saved it. And there we are, the Albatross is safely back on Kerbal without crashing, but once again back in the ocean. I'm pretty sure the engineers are going to suspend my pilot's license at this rate, because I keep putting their delicate space planes in the ocean. But yeah, let me know if you enjoy the more live commentary things. I was just trying it out and seeing if I have anything interesting to say in the moment. But anyway, that's all I've got time for today. So if you enjoyed the episode, please consider leaving a like or maybe even subscribing to the channel. And if you want to catch up with older episodes, you can check out the playlist that this video is in. But I've been Moonfish1001, and I'll see you in the next video.